Hey YouTube, hope you guys are having good holidays. Looks like I am having good holidays here. You know, I bought it. So maybe wondering what's in all this. Well, backstory if you don't already know. The truck is not running. I've been having issues with the fuel pumps blowing out, blah blah blah, because the wiring, factory wiring can't keep up with the bigger pumps. So I'm hoping that everything I need is in these packages right here. Let's start tearing in, because I've been excited to get into it. And thanks to my lovely wife for wrapping all these for me. So here, looks like we have the, oh yeah, I'll leave a link down in the description of this part. This makes it super handy. This is a jumper from the coils for our flex fuel sensor. Hence, the flex fuel sensor. Got Cesar Enriquez over at Horsepower Factory makes these. They're in between 80 to 100 bucks. But hey, I would rather pay that than have crappy wiring and have to deal with all the other wiring you got to do for the flex fuel sensor. Just plugs right in, jumps off the coils, and then you have to pin your DCM. Simple as that. Let's see what else we got. So we got our flex fuel sensor mount here. I don't know where the heck the flex fuel sensor is, but hopefully we'll find it soon. This is a Motion Racer Works kit. Makes it super easy for snapping the sensor in there. Comes with a little mount on it. And they do, they got Cesar Enriquez over at Horsepower Factory. He actually makes a mount that is set up for the factory intakes. Most people use these on like aftermarket high rams and other mid to high ram intakes. We're gonna see if we can make it work with the factory intake we got. We got an Aeromotive fuel regulator. So we are going to get rid of the factory fuel assembly all in all in that fuel regulator that's in the tank. I want to get rid of that because it messes with our startup. It's hard for the tuners to get a hold of this thing. So there's some other stuff here that you're going to be excited to see. Yeah, this is our fuel regulator. All right, see what we got next. So this is our hot wire kit. This is how we're going to fix our problem of burning up our pumps. Our wiring can't hold the bigger pumps, so we're going to replace all the factory wiring that goes to the pump with this. It's called a hot wire kit. By the way, I want to mention everything other than the jumper wiring. This is all supplied to me by an awesome dude that goes by Chris Racing on Facebook. He was super easy to work with, set me up instantly, and helped me figure out everything I needed to make this thing a mean machine. So let's tear right into the next unit here. Check this out. Here in this box, we got all of our braided fuel lines. So we're getting rid of all the factory fuel lines in this thing. We're going braided. And here's a buttload of AN fittings. So we got to deal with all this. Hopefully you guys are all right with sticking around and setting all this up. It's going to be fun for you to watch, but not fun for me to watch. And what else do we got here? Okay. This is our external fuel filter. So we're going to mount this probably underneath the cab somewhere inside the frame. Here's our mount for it. It's going to be nice for the extra filtration. The pump itself already has a filter, so it should be good there. Get out! Filler. See what we got here. It's like a kid on Christmas right now. You guys ever feel like that when you're opening your parts that don't come out of the box? They like to just have fun. Gotcha. All right. So in here, we have our fuel assembly. We just did the single wall bro 450. It's a custom setup that Chris Racing did. And if we want to, eventually we can do dual pumps here. But it's a brand new fuel assembly with all the wiring we need. And we have our other goodie in here. This is our flex fuel sensor. So this is where we're going to be mounting up on the intake at that Motion Racehorse now over there. And I think that is going to do it. This should be everything we need to make a killer fuel system here. So let's get on into it. We're going, everything up. What the hell was that? Oh, well. That's not my job. What the hell? Who are you? What are you doing? What the? Hey! Hey! Get out of here!
While I work on putting the truck on the lift, I have a simple task for you all. I'm only 10 subscribers away from Mr. Beast, so if you could go hit that subscribe button and leave a like on the video, I'd greatly appreciate it. And best part is, it's free for you to do.
All right, let's get started here. So I'm gonna go off and explain kind of how this hot wire kit works. Originally, I thought that I had to eliminate my whole fuel side of the harness here, but further inspection, this is just a relay that you bolt up. It's gonna do something with the power, make it to where you're not burning up these pumps like crazy from the factory harness. So the way this works, I'll go ahead and undo these guys right here. To ground the wire, so we'll have to ground that. And then we have a male fitting that is actually going to go directly into our factory wiring harness. That's that will good. So it'll snap in there, and pretty much a little jumper here, and then it's going to run over to the relay, and then straight back in to the fuel, the head of the fuel assembly. We'll run this a lot more cleanly and everything, but this is just to show you. And we'll run the ground wire somewhere, mount our relay, and then you've got a super long line here that we're actually going to run up to next to the battery, and we're going to hook another ground cable up to the battery, and this is our little mini fuse. So this will be in our engine bay for us to check in case we ever need to, or something's not working right. Be convenient to check this out. So the purpose of this is to eliminate burning up those pumps. Don't have the correct voltage going to the pumps that you should with how much they demand. So yeah, we're going to start off by taking the original fuel assembly out of here with the other pump that's already burnt up and slamming the new one in here. This is our new fuel assembly. It looks similar to the new one, but it's got a different hat on it. We're still going to have our torque canister hooked up here. We're going to have our evap line still hooked up here. And the only thing different, so over here, this is our current fuel supply line, and it's running in right here on this part of the hat. This is going to be, right there is going to be our new return line. So we're running our return line to right here. And this is our new supply line. You can see here, it comes directly off the pump. Only thing in the fuel assembly is the pump. And same top plug, and we'll just have to remove this sensor right here out and plop the new one on in. Let's go ahead and get started turning the old one. And the truck running in a while and no fuel came out. Lift her up.
Now we're gonna go ahead and pop our old sensor out of here. And that is still gonna go into our new assembly. So we're still good to go on this. The sensor's still good. No issues there. So everything should be plug and play. We're done with this guy. We're gonna go ahead and take our new O-ring, plop it right on our clean surface. Should sit down nice and easy. Let's go have this baby on here. Double check everything, make sure everything's all good with the wiring. Everything looks great. Have our float hooked up. Filters in there all the way. Looks good. Careful. Set this new one in here. Right. Should just plop right on in, just like so. Have a little alignment ring over here. This guy on in here. Right. Get our ring tightened back down. We got it locked in. Need our sensor. Sensor up real good. Come on in here, put the new guy in. Alright, so our Motion Raceworks E85 sensor mount, we're probably not going to use. It's designed for a Holley high ram or other intakes that have a lid with the bolts that face down. It's not very compatible with the factory intake. If I were to use this, I'd have to make a custom mount that came off the top of the intake, which I would either have to butcher my engine cover or make it go over the top, and I don't really want to do that. So what I think we're going to do is just save it for when we get an aftermarket intake, such as a Holley intake or something along those lines. We already got with Cesar Enriquez again over at Horsepower Factory, and he overnighted us his special mount for factory intakes. All this does here is this piece right here will go directly into the fuel rail. Our E85 sensor will be mounted right here, just like so. And it hopefully should allow us to keep our engine cover on, or if we do keep it on, I might have to butcher it. But yep, I can also leave a link down in the description of this, or I can just leave a link to the entire kit. Let's get into it. We're going to go ahead and come in back here and undo our fuel line. Now we can take our new fitting here. See here. Go ahead and just slide this on over. See how I have it here. It's on the frame rail right here. And then that fitting just went right on over. And then this is the sensor right here, which we need to keep that kind of low. And then the outlet of the sensor's right back there, and we'll probably run that to a regulator. You can kind of see the outlet of the sensor. This is our factory fuel line. We gotta get rid of that. We're gonna put that braided line on in here. I imagine this is the firewall right here. I think we're gonna try to mount it up here on the firewall. All right, so we figured out where we're gonna mount our regulator now. This is our next step we need to get, is that mounted so we can figure out where we need to position our flex fuel mount so we can set the fuel line up coming off of it. I already made a little scribe mark here on the firewall, and we'll go ahead and get this mount off of here. Come back when we're ready. Regulator is mounted. Now, I think next we should go ahead and rip out that fuel line in there and maybe go ahead and run a return line, since that's the easiest. And we'll see where we're looking from there. All right, so something we're gonna go ahead and figure out. We're gonna go ahead and set up the line from the regulator to our rail there. I'd like it to be about like so. Short as possible. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put our fittings on. So we got our regulator mounted now. We have our E85 sensor mounted, along with the crossover tube that goes right into the fuel rail there. And now we have the supply fuel line going directly into the E85 sensor now. So I think our next step before we do these other fuel lines, the return and the supply, I think we're gonna go ahead and rip the factory fuel line out of here just to get it out of our way. All right, so now we got the fuel line out of the way. We're gonna go ahead and run our return line out of here. Should be the easiest line to run. We'll go ahead and get the hose connected to the fitting over here, and we'll just run it down, back, and straight back to the return. All right, so we got this 6AN fitting on here. Now we'll go ahead and bolt it up to the regulator. Should be able to just run this sucker straight back and then put the fitting on the other side. All I did was run the line above the bell housing from beneath the truck. So right here, you're just seeing me connect the line to the regulator. Well, just now realizing this ain't gonna be near enough fuel line. Like once I get up to the actual tank, I have to cut it like right here. And then after that, I feel like I'm gonna be just short enough to not have enough, which kinda sucks, but we'll see. Let's go back up top. This is the only part of the fuel lines that doesn't need an AN fitting, so here I'm just hose clamping the line to the fuel hat.
I think it's safe to say that that is not going to reach the whole entire truck, which kind of stinks. Only thing I can do with this right here is run it to the filter that's going to be mounted under the cab, and then I think I'm going to have to go buy some more, which ain't a bad thing because I still got to go buy another 90-degree 6AN fitting, so yep. We'll get her going best we can. And this is our current state of what we got back here. So return line is ran, sensors in, that came with that sensor. EVAP, that's still connected. Charcoal canister still connected. Now we just got to do our supply line. After that, we'll get the supply line hooked up. Then we can run our hot wire kit, get everything plugged back in, see where we go from there. So we're gonna go ahead and get our filter placed while we can. We're just gonna put it right here. Feel like it's a pretty ideal spot. Fuel line's coming off there, going right out there, and be perfect. We went ahead and kind of bent this into place to where it can go in easily. Right, first one's in place. So we're gonna go ahead and get the short line right here set up from the filter to the assembly. So all we need now is from the outside of the filter to the regulator. All right, so we got some more fuel line. We're gonna go ahead and button it up into the filter here, run it up to the top, see where we need to cut it, pull it back out, cut it, get it right back in, and we should be buttoned up on the fuel line. All right. right, let's go to the top. Line is made. Let's get her all set up. So moment of truth here. All of our fuel lines are ran now, and I was trying to use this 90 here so that I could still use my engine cover. So let's see how this fits up. Look at that. Perfect.
That is absolutely perfect. I couldn't ask for a better fit. Doesn't even come close to this. So now what we can do is go ahead and hook our vacuum line from the regulator into our current vacuum line here. And then after that, we can do our hot wire kit and see what else we got to button up. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put our fuel pressure gauge on in there. It'll just screw right into the fuel regulator. Then we got our vacuum line that'll go from our regulator to our vacuum line that's currently running to the intake. After that, we will go ahead and put our hot wire kit on, and I think we'll be done. So these fittings here, since they're brass, you're gonna want to use pipe tape just to make sure it locks in, because brass is never like true like fuel line fittings are. Only thing we got to make sure pretty much exactly, you want to be able to read it just like this with the pressure line, the pressure relief valve straight up. Yep, simple enough. Yep, it's not over tightened, but it's really snug, and I like how it's fitting. So I don't know if I should tighten it anymore, but we'll try it how it is and see if it leaks after we start everything. We'll go from there. Most of the time, you do not have to put hose clamps or anything when you're doing vacuum lines, but I have actually had these lines blow off here from my blow-off valve. So, and I don't have any hose clamps that are small enough. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna plug this line in here. Take a little zip tie. We're only gonna do it on this part because this is one of the smaller fittings. Comes here. Make sure that's all the way on there. It's snug as a bug. Go ahead and try and plug our sensor in back here. Now we just need to pin our ECM here, which would be, I think, pin 48, but I'm gonna double check. All right, so for pinning for the E85 sensor on the ECM here, you have your lower harness and upper harness. We're gonna be going in the upper harness. My upper one's actually missing my cap already, so somebody just zip tied it to hold it steady. But yeah, we'll go ahead and cut these zip ties and then pop this out, undo this tab, and then see what it looks like in there. We'll be on pin 40. All right, and then where we run our pin, we already have a pin wired into that little jumper we have where we run our pins. So we're gonna be in this third row right here. This is pin 33, and we'll just count over until we hit pin 40. We need to cut this zip tie over here, spread these wires out. Look in here. I think we're gonna have to pop those one of those little blue tabs out, be able to put the pin in. All right, so I went ahead and took this little cover off here just so you can see how these pins look a little easier. So this is first row, second row, third row, fourth row. We're gonna be in the third row. And this right pin in third row is pin 33. And you're gonna count over from 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. And I already kind of pushed the little blue tab thing out that retains the hole, just so I already know where it's at. But we're gonna go ahead and push that out all the way, or go ahead and turn it over. And you can see where it's popping out right here. I'm gonna go ahead and just pull that out all the way. Yeah, if I can get it out of there. There it is. Now, so I have it orientated right. Want it to go in there facing just like so. Have our opening there. That facing towards the top. And shove the pin on in. All right, so right here you can see we went ahead and just pushed the pin all the way through. The pin that we have from Cesar Enriquez, which I think you should do yourself so you don't have to wire everything up. I think you should definitely go with this kit because that pin was so easy. Well, depends on how your crimp is, but should just push right in here and bottom out with the other pins. So that's pin 40. Once again, I'll refresh you because I had a hard time looking for these two. So 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. That's your E85 pin. We'll go ahead and put our cover back on here. Pull the cover off. All you gotta do is use a little pick on each side and gently pry up and it'll come right out. So this should pop directly back in there. Perfect. All right. Now, before I bolt it back down, I'm gonna go ahead and zip tie these wires back together. Go ahead and plop it back in here. And my cover is missing, so my latch won't stay locked. So that's why it was zip tied here. Probably should replace that cover so all those open wires aren't there anymore. Kind of cleanly, you can get it up out of the way there. Yep, that'll be it on our E85 sensor. Now we can do our hot wire kit and we'll be back. So I was just scrolling through Marketplace when I was doing this. This pair of race stars came up, $400 for these. So these would be a steal. Throw some ET Streets on them and have some fun with them. So it was fast and easy. I feel like I didn't need to record installing this for you. This is the hot wire kit. So have your male plug and then your female to go into your factory harness here. Those run over to a relay. All I did was tap it into the rear crossbar, and then the ground that comes off of that, I just grounded it to the frame here. And now all we got left to do is run this up to the engine bay, mount our little mini fuse to the side of the inside of the fender well, and then hook up the power to the battery. Should be all done. Alrighty, so we put the little mount back here behind the battery, and all we got to do is just plug that guy into it. There's not enough wire to have it like that with the battery cable unplugged. So once I put this up there and get it connected, then I can just go ahead and plug that back into the firewall there. So yep, we should be good to go ahead and hook everything back up, get it started, and adjust our fuel pressure. We'll just come in here, get our fuel pressure up to 58 PSI, and yeah, she runs. So we're gonna go ahead and hook the battery up, turn the key over to make sure the pump's gonna cycle for us and everything. Maybe check for a few leaks before we start it. Sadly, we're painting in here right now, so I don't want to start this in here and get the fumes and mixed in with the paint. After we get everything hooked up, make sure everything checks out, we're actually gonna roll this thing outside to start it, and hopefully all goes well. Hopefully all sounds well.
Everything's so good. So let's roll this thing outside. So we're gonna start it up and set our fuel pressure regulator. Hopefully it starts.
All right, so it's doing exactly what we want. It could stay at 58 psi and not budge. So stays within the range, close enough, nothing to really worry about. Doesn't drop off that far. 58 is just what you want your fat amount to be.
So fuel system's complete. Hope you helped all you guys out. I thought everything was super simple. Everything went together really well. Had a couple issues, messing parts, blah, blah, blah. Now we're gonna go ahead and power wash the frame. We're gonna go paint the frame in there. If you guys wanna stick around for that, we'll do a little sped up video and then bolt the bed up and we'll send you guys on your way. Hey, you're back. Come on.
Video helped you all. It was fun working on the truck and putting all this stuff back together. I'm just glad to have the truck back together. But thanks for sticking around. I appreciate you guys so much. It helped me even more if you guys could leave that like and a subscribe. Check out these wheels.